So let us start working on the minutes of meeting project. Here I have created a Google Drive folder called minutes of meeting, and inside that I'm going to create a Google form, a blank Google form, and I'm going to name it as meeting MOM. You can name it as anything, of course, and once you change the name, once you click here, it will get changed. Here I'm going to say attendees, and it is going to be a list of names. Then we'll have discussion points, okay, and then we'll have another field called action items. Now what I do is I go to Mukaru, yes, and I just want to create couple of first names. Okay, rows will be, let us say 8 is good. Okay, preview. It's going to give me 8 names. Copy those, come back to this and just paste it here, and now we have these people, and this is the action item sheet that my form is ready. Right now I click on this, I put some action item, and I click on submit, and if I go to the responses sheet, I can click on this and create a new spreadsheet. When I create that, I get my responses in my spreadsheet, right? And this form name will get changed once we refresh it. Yes, it's automatically getting changed. But our idea is to generate some minutes of meeting, right? So I'm going to create a folder called template, which will contain the template of minutes of meeting. I'm going to create a temp folder which will be used for doing calculations. Then I'm going to create an output folder which is going to hold the output of our meetings. Okay, now let's work on the template. So I go to the template, I click on a Google Docs, and I will create a blank document, and let me name it as MOM template. Okay, and here I'm going to insert a header, and just I'll put a link to my blog here, right, and let me center it. I'm going to insert a footer. Okay, MON, whatever I can write here, and this is the body of the text, and here I'm just going to put some text I have just copied. It is the title of minutes of meeting. We can make it as bold, and we can underline this. Meeting held on this date, right? And this, I think I can underline this as well. Okay, and meeting held on this date, following members were present, following points were discussed, and action items. Okay, now this is my template, and I go back to my form, and we click on these 3 buttons over here and click on script editor. So now this is the script editor, and I'm going to just name the script as MOM generator, and my function name, I'm going to call this as create MOM, right? And create MOM is going to take the input of this entire form as an array. So I'm just going to name it as input array or something, and here we're going to process that input array. But before we do that, right, we have to first get the parent folder. So here let me just put the date, because we're going to use the date in the template. Now just to make it more visible, I'll just zoom it a little bit. Date used will be whatever date we are going to use inside the template over here, right? So now what I want to do is I want to find the parent folder, that is this folder. To find the parent folder, I'm going to use a function over here called get parent folder, and get parent folder is going to get the ID of the parent of the form. So quickly let us just see get parent folder, what does it return? If I just execute this, it's going to ask me for some permissions, most probably. And review permissions, select this, advanced, select this, click on allow. It's going to go to the drive view, manage the Google Drive. So as you can see here, it starts with ZXUQ, which is the same as this folder. So this is the way we get the parent folder of the form. And now we want to put another function over here. All this code will be available in the description of the course. So get folder ID by child folder name and parent folder ID. This is another function. If I call this function, now it takes child folder name. For example, we want to get to the temp folder, right? Child folder name is temp, and parent folder ID is nothing but this will give us the parent folder ID. Now this way what we can do is we can get the ID of the temp folder, which ends with 0tr. It ends with 0tr over here. So this is the temp folder ID we can get using the program, right? Now where are we going to use this in our, now we're done with this, so let me delete that. Where are we going to use this? Because we are going to work with this template, right? So first thing is, in my script, let me get the parent folder and store it in a variable called p. Then let me get the temp folder ID, store it in a folder variable called temp folder. Then let me get the temp folder itself, which is the object, store it here. Similarly, I'm going to get the export folder ID and the export folder. The export folder name is output, right? And it's going to give me the export folder. Now temp folder. So temp folder, export folder, then we get the template folder. So we get all the three folders so that we can work with them now. Now we need to make a copy of the template file. So this template file that we just got, we just make a copy of that and we call it as the temp file. Okay, so basically we're going to go to the template folder and make a copy of this, hold it in the memory and call it as the temp file. And now as we know that it is a doc file, as we know that it will be a doc file, right? So now convert it into a doc file. We'll just put this. Now this doc file is going to take the temp file and convert it into a doc format. Now let's get the body of the doc file. For the body of the doc file, we get temp file.getBody, which will get us all the content in the template. And inside that, now we have to replace the text called date, attendance, MOM and action items, right? These are the points we want to replace. So now what we can do is body.replace date instead of date used, which is this, and replace text attendance with input array 0. In the way we are going to pass the array will be the first thing will be the attendance list, second thing will be the MOM, third thing will be the action items. Then we are going to save it, save the temp file and close it. Okay, now we are going to convert it into a PDF file, right? And this PDF file we are going to create inside the export folder, and we're going to name it as date used. Okay, then after everything is done, we're just going to remove the temp file and delete it, the temporary file. Okay, so this is our final PDF is created. Now how to get this input array? That if we get that, and everything is sorted out. Now to get the input array, we know that we can have a function called onFormSubmit, which is nothing but this function will be called when we submit the form. Okay, then when we submit a form, the E will hold the responses of the form will be captured in the form responses, and we are not using this event object, but we can also get the response from the event object. But now what we get is form responses. We remove the first element from the form response because the first element will be the date of submission. We don't want that. Now item responses will be the actual items which are submitted in the form, and let me just print this to make sure that this is the actual thing that we're submitting. And we go to triggers and we add a trigger here called which function will run. The function name we have given is onFormSubmit, and when it should run, onFormSubmit. So when the form is submitted, we go on to call this function and we save this trigger. Again, it is going to ask for some of the permissions. We just go ahead and go to this as usual. This time we just allow this. And now we are going to go ahead and submit another dummy response. Okay, so this is a radio button, but we will convert it into a checkbox. Right, now when we go to this and I reload this, it will become checkbox. Suppose these are the people who joined this, and the dummy's response is submitted. And now that we have submitted a response, let's go here and go to executions, which is this button, and we can see that function has been triggered and form is not defined. There is an error here called form is not defined. So let us define that, and I'm going to define it outside so that it can be used in this function as well as this function. Now let me submit another response. Doesn't matter what we're going to put here. Submit it, and now we go back to the executions. It's going to appear over here most probably. Did not submit this. Yes, and we can see there are 3 responses for the 3 fields that we have, right? So now we go back to the script and we have the item responses. We just have to loop through them. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop through the item responses until from 0 till the length of item response, and the answer will be in that particular item response. And what is this record array? The record array is a variable I'm going to create that is going to hold all my responses. Okay, so I'm going to push it into that. Now press Alt. See, this is how you can move the lines. Now I'm not interested in item response anymore. I am interested in record array, right? Let me print it and see what happens? So let me submit another response, and this time a little different. Submit it, come back to the executions of the form, and as we can see here, the response has appeared. And if I refresh it, sometimes yeah, so we submitted these exact responses, and it is now captured in my array. Right now we know that my create MOM method needs an array, and now we have an array here. So simply I'm just going to call create MOM, and I'm going to pass the record array here, control / I can comment that line. And the only thing here is, I think it is going to work. Let me see if I have declared the template file name. So now most probably it is all going to fall together, and it's going to create a MOM in our output folder. So let me see if the trigger has been added. So when we submit the form, on form submit method will be executed. This in turn will call create MOM, and create MOM is going to create the PDF file. So this time when I submit another response, test and test1, test discussion points and test action items, submit this, come back to the output folder, and let's wait for some time. Unless there is an issue, it's going to create an output file over here. Takes some time. Let's refresh it. Most probably it has not generated it this time. Oh, it has failed. Okay, let us see what happened. Input array is not defined. It's the problem with the copy paste, right? So when you copy paste code, sometimes the error is happening. Input array is not defined. Oh, here there is a spelling mistake. So I can copy this there, that there, doesn't matter. So now there was an extra A in that. It's fine. Now I'm going to submit another response, select few people and say discussion point 1, and I can say okay, action item 1, action item 2. Similarly I can oh, I know the problem with this. Here is it short answer, can make it a paragraph, right? And refresh this, and I can name it as discussion point 2. Submit this, come back to the output folder, and fingers crossed. Okay, there it is. The MOM file is generated. It has discussion point 1, point 2. It has a header and footer and everything, and it's perfect, right? Now to take it a step ahead, if you have a little bit of patience, I'm going to create an email sheet so that we can email these MOM to all the people, right? Now I'm going to show you a little bit of trick. Here we have these many names. I don't think I can copy these names from here, or okay, I can copy these names. I can go here to the email sheet and I can paste it here, and I can say name, I can say email, and these two I can make it as bold, increase their size a little bit, and give them a background color. Okay, so they are headers. Now this will be one of my email IDs, and this will be another email ID. So I don't have any more email IDs, so I just want to use these two over here. And now let's send this MOM by email. So if we go over here, so let's go back to the code part, and now I have to collect all the emails from this particular sheet, which is in B column, right? So for that I have a little bit of trick which I'm going to explain to you. One line of code will do all the trick. What we are doing here is, it's a spreadsheet where our code is there, right? So you have to call spreadsheet open by ID. Now the ID of the sheet is from here till here, which I can just copy and put it here, but I don't want to hard code, right? So what I can do is, instead I can get the ID dynamically by calling this line of code, for map dot get active form dot get destination ID. This is nothing but same as getting the ID of the sheet. Get sheet by name emails, okay, emails dot get range B2 till the end of B column. Okay, everything. Get values. Then what will happen is, it will get a lot of blank values, because these cells don't have any value. It will get a lot of blank values, and we want to filter them. And if we write this much, we can see what is the output of all emails by writing another function, test 1, let us call it, and we'll log it, logger.log all emails, and let me just execute test 1. Let us see the emails, right? It's going to ask for some more permissions this time, because we are accessing the spreadsheet. Allow it. Most probably it will go to print. So I have my emails where I want to send the email in this variable, right? All emails. So if we add tomorrow another email, let's say, right here and here, ignoring the format, and I just run this, now it's going to get me all the email IDs which are valid in this column. So that's fine. We don't have email ID for these people, for example, as of now. So only thing remaining is, now we have this MOM file, and right here we are going to send it by email. So to send it by email, we call Gmail app dot send email, and this method is going to take recipients, subject, body. Okay, so the recipients are these people. We can pass an array here. Subject, I can say subject will be MOM plus, let me use this date. Okay, well, it could be anything. And for the body, I'm going to say hi all, comma, /n will give me a new line. Please find the MOM of the meeting attached with this email, right? And now we can say /n regards /n your committee. I don't know, my spelling is little I'm not sure if it's correct spelling, please forgive me for that. Now we're going to pass an object here, and this object will be called attachments. How do I know this? I go here and see attachments, we can pass it. So semicolon, and as we know, this will take an array, and we have our array of emails right here. Oh, sorry, not the emails. Emails is right here, but attachments is nothing but this file, and we have to pass it like this. Okay, now when we are done with this, we save it, and I think because we are using Gmail app, we have to take the permission for that. So click on this, review permissions, digital freelancer, advanced. It's going to ask for Gmail permissions now, right? It's going to show all the permissions that we have taken till now, and now our project is completed, and that's okay. But once we submit this, we're going to see what is going to happen. For example, we have a new form submission, item 1, item 2, okay. Andy will do item 1, okay. Jason will do item 2, okay. Gorilla is going to work on high priority items. Now I'm going to see how we can see that email coming in. So I'm going to pull that email over here. These are all some of the security alerts, but now let me just resize this, and this one comes here. Let me just submit this. The moment I submit, first thing is the output. We'll get our new file. Hopefully, unless we have an error. Is there an error? Still running. So yes, our output is here. Check it out. Gorilla work on high priority items. This is what we entered exactly. Waiting for the email. Here it is. Hi all, please find the moment the meeting attached to your committee, and the same thing sent as email to all the recipients. So that's it. That's the end of the project, and we learned how to create an MOM project, create PDFs, and also send them by email. Thank you very much for your patience, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.